Anthony L. Elmore. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. I am best known in Memphis, Tennessee as the five-time world karate kickboxing champion. It was in 1987 where we wrote, produced, directed, and starred in the first movie of anyone, black or white. We produced the first independent film called The Contemporary Gladiator. An international news release titled Memphis black filmmaker Anthony F. Elmore challenges white supremacy follows the path of Dr. King and President Obama. The news release stated, quote, Anthony F. Elmore, Memphis' first independent filmmaker who happens to be black, shares how racism and white supremacy marginalized African Americans in Memphis. Elmore challenged the city of Memphis and Shelby County Film, Tape, and Music Commission and accused them in ending Memphis of racism and white supremacy. Elmore noted that he, as Memphis' first independent filmmaker, efforts has not only been marginalized. Elmore noted that it is outright racism that he, as Memphis' first independent filmmaker, is not acknowledged. Elmore also notes what is just as bad as white supremacy and racism is black silence. Dr. Martin Luther King said that, quote, silence is betrayal. Dr. Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends, unquote. Silence regarding the black history of Memphis, Tennessee is perplexing. It is as if I have walked into the horror movie The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, whereas the minds of black citizens were taken over by a foreign invasion. I want you to see a scene from the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is how I feel about what has happened to the black history and the teachers of black history in Memphis, Tennessee.
No, you've got to get out of here, please.
They come from another world, spawned in the light years of space, unleashed to take over the bodies and souls of the people of our planet, bringing a new dimension in terror to the giant Super Scope screen.
They're here already! You're next!
The true equality for black people in Memphis was when blacks in Memphis enlisted in the Union Army. In the spring of 1863, by June of 1863, 3,000 men in Memphis and 24,000 in Tennessee had joined the Union Army. In fact, 1 in every 4 black Memphians joined the Union Army. Our black history in Memphis starts with the black Union soldiers. Now, let me explain Memphis history. Clearly, the first equality for black men in Memphis starts with the Union Army. This is what happened in Memphis. White supremacy and racism extricated this black history from Memphis and Shelby County. The black soldiers were stationed at Fort Pickering on the river in a black neighborhood called French Fort. White racists tore down Fort Pickering to remove this history of equality from the minds of black people in Memphis. The foundation, unity, brotherhood, community, building of black people in Memphis came from the black Union soldiers. A black soldier who fought white people understood equality, courage, dignity, education, and community. White racists made it a point to remove equality from the minds of black people in Memphis. The way racist whites removed this black pride
was to remove that history of black Union soldiers from Memphis history. Please note that Memphis, Tennessee used the image of Nathan Bedford Forrest and the Confederacy as our reminder of the Civil War. We black people in Memphis should demand that this black history be restored, including Fort Pickering. This should be a museum because this is some of the great history of black people in Memphis, Tennessee. What is frightening in Memphis, Tennessee is the fact that we have not only a Memphis chapter of ASALH. I read that the Memphis chapter of ASALH hosted the 99th year ASALH convention at the Peabody Hotel. What is shameful to the spirit of Dr. Carter G. Woodson is the fact that in Memphis, Tennessee, white racists, white supremacy not only purposefully dismantled Fort Pickering to erase the dignity, the history, the pride, and efforts of the black soldiers in Memphis, Tennessee. There is not even a marker of Fort Pickering, and you got our black scholars who are perpetrating a fraud, pretending to preserve black Memphis history. We African Americans should be protesting the Memphis chapter of ASALH for their silence. Again, Dr. Martin Luther King said, silence is betrayal. White supremacy and racism changed the history of Orange Mound from 1879 to 1890. The Memphis branch of ASALH should no longer remain silent and help in our efforts to get Orange Mound premiered in the Museum of African American History on the Mall of Washington, D.C. to take its rightful place as the first community in America built for blacks by blacks. Secondly, we should unite and call for the Fort Pickering African American Museum on the Mississippi River in Memphis. We call for the Memphis chapter of ASALH to support the efforts of our asking Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta to come to Memphis, Tennessee to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King via formally inviting African Americans to visit our ancestral homeland of Africa. We ask ASALH to join us in the Kisumu, Kenya, whereas Orange Mound, the first community in America built for blacks by blacks, is honored in Africa.